Right, now I'm going to present screen. I hope it will be possible. Yes, your entire screen, all right. So this is going to be an introductory class to integrated language skills writing. This is just, let's say, a logical sequence to the previous course where we were focusing on the paragraph and the structure of the paragraph and constituent elements of a good paragraph. So now in this semester, we're going to switch from writing paragraphs and analyzing paragraphs to this bigger block of writing to a complete whole essay, okay? This is going to be the focus. Now let me just warm you up to the English issues. Is there such a word in English such as supposedly? No, it's still not a word. Which word was meant probably here? Supposedly ne postoji, ali kad hoćete da kažete da nešto verovatno se dešava, šta ćete reći? Supposedly, right? Supposedly. So it's a mixture of the two words. Then there are 10 ways to say run in English. Samo sačekajte jedan trenutak, odmah ću se vratiti. Nije Bojan, ja sam tu ne radim internet, malo morala smo da dođe do časa. Okay, one very important issue in our classes in the previous semester and in this one is going to be the choice of words in our writing. So what kind of words should be used when writing? We should use vivid or precise words, okay? So instead of saying run, just run in English, we can be more specific depending on the type of movement, type of quick movement. So in particular circumstances, we might say that someone sprints, races, dashes, scampers, charges, scurries, darts, zooms, rushes, or hastens, okay? As for your homework, so please look up the exact meanings of these words related to running in dictionaries and provide one example for each, okay? Dakle, pogledajte tačno značenje ovih reči za domaći i dajte po jednu rečenicu pa ćemo sljedeći put to proveriti, all right? It's a task for all of you. Okay, now this is an academic course. So this is much of the time a course in academic English. Not really, it's a course in teaching the basics of writing, but with elements of academic English, because academic style would mean preparation for seminar papers. So we're not preparing for writing seminar papers, which means that we would use statistics, data from different sources of research, not that, but all other elements for academic writing are going to be involved in this course and have been involved in this course, okay? So have a look at this, let's say, example of poor academic style on the left-hand side. Jel vidite dobro? Ovo što stoji na ekranu. Da. Vidite?
Da.
Okay, so on the left-hand side, there is an example of poor academic style, whereas on the right-hand side, there is an example of good academic style. So let's consider what's wrong on the left-hand side. So a lot of people think that the weather is getting worse. They say that this has been going on for quite a long time. I think that they are quite right. Who is they? Research has shown that we now get storms, etc. all the time. So why is this considered to be poor style of writing or writing academically? A lot of is imprecise. As you well know from the previous semester, we have to be specific and precise when writing. A lot of is imprecise, okay? People think, when we say that people think, it is rather personal. The focus should be on the idea, not the person, okay? So they say, it's better to say people think, not they. Who is they? So when we say weather, this is actually an imprecise term, okay? Because is it weather or is it climate that we are actually referring to? It seems that it is climate, as we will see later on when we consider the corrected version. So if something gets worse, it's a good expression when we are having a chat, but in writing, it's considered to be informal, okay? Because, or for example, they say is also informal. To be going on is also an informal expression. Quite a long time is imprecise because we have to know how long. I think you're not supposed to write in the first person singular, okay, because it's a characteristic of informal and personal style. So informal personal expression. Research is a big word. Whose research? We have to be more specific. We now get is informal. Storms, it's vague. What kind of storms? Be more specific all the time. Which period of time is covered? It's overgeneralized. So this is what is wrong with the given set of words. Now, how can we improve it and transfer it into good academic style? So instead of saying a lot of people think that the weather is getting worse, we might say it is widely believed that the climate is deteriorating, okay? Deteriorating is a formal expression meaning the same as getting worse. Climate is more specific than the weather, okay? And passive is more formal than saying than the active way of expressing ourselves by using a lot of people think. Now, again, they say, when we know who says, then it's better to use the passive. It is claimed that this process, not just this, but the process has been continuing, not going on because it's informal, but continue as a formal verb for nearly exactly 100 years, not a long time. Okay, we have to be specific. Now, this belief appears to be supported by McKinley, so we have a specific reference, and we have specific data. Shows a 55 increase in the frequency of severe, not just storms, but exactly what types of storms? Winter gales, and we have the period of the time specified since 1905. Okay, we have to be punctual, specific, and formal when writing essays in this course, and in general, when writing at an academic level. Now, before we move on with our class, let me just introduce you to the grading system, which is actually the same as in the previous semester. Points for attendance. I expect you to attend classes. They're going to be online, so it's no problem for you to go from here to there, right? You just click on your computer, on your email, and get linked to our classes. Also, as much as possible, I would like you to interact. Okay, then you're going to get some tasks from one lesson to be done for the next lesson to make these online classes more effective, because I cannot work so interactively with you as I would do if we were in the classroom, right? So I would expect you to prepare yourselves for classes by reading particular essays so that we can in advance, okay, before the class, so that we don't lose time for you reading in class, but just to immediately get down to analyzing essays and other aspects of writing that we're going to be studying. Okay. Also, you're going to get some tasks from time to time to do for the next class. Then I'm going to send you in the following 2 weeks a self-study journal, similarly to the previous semester. Okay, it's going to be a set of tasks that you're supposed to do and to submit somewhere in May. We're somewhere in the middle of May, let's say. We'll set the date once I send them to you. Then again, you're going to have test 1, the so-called midterm test. It gets you maximally 30 points, okay? And finally, it's going to be somewhere, we'll see, April probably. And the final test, or test 2, you can get 45 points. The minimum score for taking the exam in integrated language skills is 51%. That is 23 points. Now, this is important. Samo da kažem, ovaj drugi test 2 će biti samo pisanje eseja. Dobro, samo pišete esej. Test 1 će sadržati razne aspekte koje treba da prepoznajete u esejima, paragrafama i tako dalje. Test 2 je samo pisanje eseja kao sublimacija svega što smo naučili. The minimum score for taking the exam in integrated language skills 2. Kao što znate, glavni ispit vam je iz onoga što radite kod profesorice Nataše Milivojević, ili tako, struktura analiza teksta, i to radite u ispitnom roku redovnom. A ovo je nešto, znači ovaj deo pisanja je nešto bez čega ne možete izaći na taj ispit. Da biste izašli na ispit iz celokupnih objedinjenih jezičkih veština 2, morate imati 51% poena kao opšti rezultat za pisanje. Znači 10 plus 15 po 30 plus 45 je 100. Od toga morate imati 51 poen ukupno, ali tako, sve ovo uzimajući zajedno. I osim toga, na testu 2, test 2 je eliminatoran, odnosno morate u drugom testu imati 51%, dobro, odnosno 51 poen. U testu 1 ne morate, tu koliko ste poena osvojili, sabira se sa ukupnim. I sad, isto je važno, the midterm test and the final test have to be taken when scheduled and they are not repeated. Znači, samo tad ih polažete i u principu studenti ih polaže. Sada, da vidimo, topics of our interest, samo da proverim, pošto vas ne čujem, jel vi mene čujete?
Da.
Čujete me, u redu je. Okay. Now, which are the topics of our interest in this part of the course? Well, the essay and its structure. So, which are the component parts of an essay? The introduction, as you well know, we're going to learn that the introduction contains 3 important elements: the hook, which attracts your attention, some connecting information, and the thesis statement. Then the next part of the essay is the body paragraphs. Each body paragraph, as you well know, contains a topic sentence, supporting sentences which develop the paragraph, right? And the concluding sentence. The concluding statement. Let me just, I forgot to write it. Concluding sentence. Sorry. Kod časova što radimo, ove slajdove ću vam uvijek postaviti u Google učionicu da možete da pogledate ako želite, ako vam nešto još treba. And then the final part is the conclusion. Then we are going to consider paragraph essay correspondence. You're going to see which elements of the paragraph correspond to which elements of the essay as a whole. As we said in the previous semester, a paragraph is like a small essay. It has all the component parts of an essay, but the essay goes more deeply into each of the elements, okay? We're going to see it today already, some parts of it. Then we're going to analyze and practice writing 4 types of essays: descriptive essays, comparison essays, cause-effect essays, and classification essays. Before you start writing, we have to be skilled in the pre-writing process. We have to do the brainstorming, so the collecting of ideas, everything that comes to mind in relation to a topic, then discarding the ideas that you're not going to be discussing, and finally making an outline. Then comes the process of editing and proofreading. Then we're going to be considering in more depth linking words or transition signals, some other aspects of sentence structure or sentence problems, in addition to those that we already practiced in the previous semester. We're going also to focus on precise and vivid vocabulary and punctuation elements. This is something we're going to discuss another time. Now, I would like, of course, the basic book from which we're going to be studying is this book from the last semester, From Great Paragraphs to Great Essays, Great Writing 3. Do you have it in front of yourself? Jel imate ispred sebe tu knjigu?
Da.
Dobro, odlično. Okay, so open it to page 79. Okay, now this is the first lesson we're going to do. We're going to start considering in this semester. So, descriptive essays, moving from paragraph to essay. So, an essay is very similar to a paragraph in its organization and order, but an essay introduces more information and depth about a topic. So essays allow the writer to go into more detail about a particular topic. In an essay, each main point is presented in an individual paragraph, okay? Because if you remember, in a paragraph, we've basically built our paragraphs around one topic sentence, right? And this topic sentence was supported by 3 or 4 supporting details, okay? In an essay, each main point is presented in an individual paragraph. This means that more examples, explanations, and details are used when writing about specific points of development. So have a look at this chart, which actually compares us very briefly, but very precisely, the structure of a paragraph and the structure of an essay. In both paragraphs and essays, we have the introductory part. The introductory part in the paragraph is the very topic sentence, right? The topic sentence, which actually introduces the topic of the paragraph, right? This is the point of the topic sentence. In an essay, on the other hand, what corresponds to the topic sentence, that is the introduction to the topic of the essay, is actually the so-called thesis statement, okay? It has the same function as the topic sentence. Before it, we have one sentence which is called a hook, which attracts the attention of the reader, okay? So the purpose of the introductory part in both the paragraph and the essay is to get the readers interested and to give the main idea. So that's it. Now, next, in the next element, the next part of the structure of both a paragraph and an essay is the body, okay? And the function of the body is to organize the main points and to give supporting information. What is the body in the paragraph? It's actually those supporting sentences, right? Sentences supporting the topic sentence. In the essay, on the other hand, it's actually the paragraphs. Typically, we're going to be writing an essay including 3 paragraphs, which means that our essays are going to be revolving around 3 main ideas, okay? 3 main ideas. And each paragraph again has the topic sentence. And finally, the concluding part. It signals the end of the writing. In the paragraph, it's just one sentence. The concluding sentence. In the essay, it's the concluding paragraph. So they have the same parallel structure, but an essay goes into more deeply into all of it. Now, on page 80, we have a paragraph entitled "My Daily Prison," and later on, this paragraph is going to be let's say, enlarged or transformed into an essay by adding more details. But first, we're going to read this paragraph, "My Daily Prison." So please read "My Daily Prison," find the topic sentence, find the main supporting details, okay? And then we're going to talk about it. Znači, pročitajte, onda ćemo diskutovati o tome. Okay, so have you read the paragraph? Yes?
Yes.
What is the
Yes.
which one is the topic sentence? And what is the paragraph about? The topic sentence, is it the first one? I often get the impression that my workplace is a prison.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, and it really contains the essence of this paragraph. The essence meaning the main idea, where someone feels, the writer feels that his workplace is like a prison, right? And he really describes it. Along which main point does he describe his workplace as reminding him of a prison? In other words, which are the main supporting ideas or points?
Well, firstly, the level of security.
Yes,
that he mentions.
the first supporting point is the level of security. That's right. What's the second point?
The food.
Sorry? Nisam čula. Izvinjam se, samo da dodam što se tiče ovog prvog point. The level of security when, kako bismo stavili, the level of security when entering, je li tako? When entering the building.
Yeah, not necessarily inside the building.
When entering the building. Yes. And then we have details, right? To punch in a special code, to enter the parking lot, security guard examining the badge, and so on. Then we slowly move on to the second point. The second supporting point has to do with the cafeteria, the look of and the atmosphere at the cafeteria. The second. And then we have a description of the way it looks. It's grey walls, no pictures, a layer of grease, lining up, right? How people behave, they line up, shuffle slowly through the line, hoping for a new recipe. And then we have a description of the food, wilted salad, lumpy mashed potatoes, and so on, right? So that all belongs to the second point, the explanation, specific details supporting the second second point. And the third supporting point is what?
Well, general job and the cubicles. It's supposed to be like a comparison between prison cells and the cubicles, and his supervisor is supposed to be some kind of a prison guard or something.
If we were to put it in one sentence, we could say that it is work routine after lunch. Is it so? Work routine after lunch. Can we say it so?
Yeah, perhaps.
Okay, so we have three supporting points. Okay, right. And finally, do we have the concluding sentence? It should be the last one. Time seems to stand still in my prison-like workplace, but I always manage to make it to 5 p.m. It's the concluding sentence. So what is its purpose? Is it a restatement? Is it an opinion, a prediction, a suggestion? What is it? It's mostly an opinion, right? He makes it to 5 p.m. Okay, right. Tell me now, do we know all the words here? To punch in, to enter numbers, right? To punch in a code. Then a badge, i mi smo prezvali srpski badge, je li tako? To shuffle, it's a particular type of walking. To walk slowly while dragging your feet, je li tako? Vući noge, zapravo tako bismo rekli. Wilted salad, meaning not fresh salad, right? Limp, not fresh. Lumpy, having lumps, right? Mashed potatoes with lumps, onako sa onim grumuljicama. Mashed potatoes, šta je to, pire, tako? Gravy, it's a sauce made of juices of cooked meat. A cubicle, it's the part where people work in, secluded by those partitions, right? A small workspace usually made out of temporary or movable walls. Read off, to read aloud a list of items or information. A chain gang, traditionally a group of prisoners connected by chains around their ankles doing hard labor outdoors. And to stand still, not move. Now, give me three explanations or examples of how the writer's workplace is similar to prison. What creates the image of the prison, this vivid writing, right, in our minds from the words the author has written? Which stands out for you?
The interior of the cafeteria. It reminds me of something that would be in a prison, dull, with no pictures and gray walls.
Aha, grease, znate da je grease masnoća, jel tako? Greasy hair, recimo masna kosa. Okay, yes. What else? Znači, exact examples. No pictures, people shuffling through the line, right? What else? Chain gang, eto imate the chain gang.
The security.
The security procedure for entering. Okay, yes, this all gives the impression of a prison. Okay, now this was a paragraph. Now let us read an essay where most of the information given in the paragraph is used in the essay, but arranged in a different way. Now, some of the points, or most of the supporting or main points in the paragraph, these three that we identified, are actually developed into whole paragraphs in this essay, okay? So please read the whole essay. Think about, read the whole essay, underline the topic sentences, okay? And think about the supporting details in each of these paragraphs, okay? It will take some time because it's quite long. That's why it's important from the next time on for you to read such essays at home. Halo, jesi došla da internet više? Ja imam časove, dobro, samo mi molim te javi ako stigne do 4, 10, 15, da znam. Dobro, hajde. Okay. Or are you still reading it?
Možemo još 5 minuta.
5 minutes. Oh, okay.
Malo manje možda.
2 minutes. Okay. Okay. Okay, I guess you're ready now. Okay, the first element in the structure is an introduction, right? Which would you say is the crucial sentence in this introduction that introduces the topic of the whole essay? Which sentence?
Oh, however, I can imagine what a prison feels like.
No, it's not. It's a warm-up for the crucial one. The crucial one is the last one. From the time I arrive at work to the time I leave, I get the distinct impression that I'm indeed in prison. Okay, that's the so-called thesis statement, and it's an analog to the topic sentence. Okay, what comes before it, we're going to discuss it later on. Okay, now what about the first paragraph? The first paragraph, before I even enter my building at 9 a.m., I get the feeling that I'm entering a high security building, right? Is that the topic sentence? Would you say it?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So, this paragraph revolves actually around this main idea, which I wrote here: the procedure of entering the company's building, which is very restrictive, like in a prison, right? And all the rest is actually the development of this paragraph, where we have a very nicely built picture of the whole very discriminating procedure. So the cold metallic arm slowly swings up, allowing to pass. Then I proceed towards the entrance. A stern guard wearing a black and white uniform glances up my face. He's past the guard, going past the guard, entering the lobby, walking down the frigid hallway with the sign saying authorized personnel only. My 10-digit number must be punched in correctly for the door to open, and so on. Okay, so the whole procedure is really described, and this is what the paragraph is about. Now, the second paragraph has to do. The main topic is, as I would say, work routine in the cubicle, right? Work routine in the cubicle. The topic sentence should be the first one. My work day has become, and now that it will follow the same routine as every other day. And we have a description of it. A dull cubicle, co-workers' cubicles the same, decorated the same way, separated by partitions, working, doing from 9 to 9:30 the same things, answering emails, getting busy with the telephone, no creativity. Okay, so it all has really to do with the work routine. The third paragraph is about the lunchtime routine. So the key word in the whole essay is actually routine, nothing creative, right? My lunchtime routine never changes either, which would be the topic sentence here. And then we have details. At 12:30, we proceeded to the cafeteria, and then we have the description of the smell and the grease. Nothing has changed. The atmosphere, life's walls are grey, no pictures, people lining up and moving through the line, the type of food, and so on. All the same as in the paragraph, but with many more details, okay? With many more details. Finally, the third paragraph with the topic sentence, 30 minutes later, we are back in our cubicles preparing for our afternoon meetings. This is the topic sentence, and we might say that the main idea in this paragraph is the routine of afternoon meetings. So all these, all the main points from the paragraph, which were just mentioned and maybe explained by one or two sentences, are here actually elaborated on by adding many more sentences with a lot of examples distributed in 3 different paragraphs. And there, all these ideas were in just one paragraph. Okay, so we have again a novel conference table room, shabby chairs, like clockwork. Employees do not speak, sit like prisoners, no room for creativity, multiple choice answers, and so on. Okay. And finally, the conclusion. What do you say about the conclusion? What kind of conclusion is it? Does it give us? Is there some hope in it? Is it an opinion, a suggestion, or what type of conclusion is this one?
Is it a restatement?
Well, yes, the atmosphere is oppressive. Yes, it revolves around restating the main statements in the topic sentence. Yes. Okay. Now, do we know all the words here in this essay? If something is distinct, it is, how would you put it in English?
Precise. Maybe.
Sorry, it is?
Precisely described.
Could be one of the meanings, but the meaning meant here is actually a distinct expression. Let's say a unique, individual, clear, unmistakable, right? So this is the meaning meant here. Indeed means what? Indeed means really, in reality, truly, right? Now, what about what kind of movement is a swinging movement? To swing, it's
Klatići.
Yes, so to move, but in a way that there is one fixed spot and the other part moves like this. A chandelier swinging, right? Kao luster, jel tako, onaj koji se tako swings. Fiksiran je gore, ali donji deo se pomera levo i desno. Aha, okay. To proceed, can you think of a synonym for the word, for the verb to proceed? Proceed. I proceed toward the entrance. To go on, to continue my movement, right? Move forward, can be enter. For a person, if a person is stern, what kind of person is it? Is that? A stern guard, a stern person, a stern father. Stern.
Strict.
Yes, strict. Okay. To glance at something. To glance, what is a glance? Glance is a quick look.
To take a look at something.
A quick look at
Quick.
something. To look quickly at something if it's a verb. Okay. Frigid hallway. If something is frigid, it's
Cold.
but extremely cold, if we want to be precise, right? Very, very cold. Freezingly cold. If something is dull, it is a dull person, a dull cubicle.
Boring.
Boring, not interesting. Okay. Then we can have dull colors, for example, zagasite boje, tako. Whatever, dull meaning dim as well. Partitions in this context. Temporary barriers, jel tako, to su oni kao pregradne kancelarije sa onim malim pregradnim zidovima, ne znam ni da li su zidovi više kartonski, kao da su napravljeni od kartona, jel tako? Aha, okay. I cannot veer from the company statement. To veer from something. You can veer when driving as well. Veer from something. To change, move away from, okay? Then, let's say, gelatin, but jiggly gelatin. Znači, onaj što se drmusa, tako, jiggle, kao pomalo se drma, mrda, jiggly, okay. Onda imamo shabby, recimo shabby chairs. Can you think of a synonym? Shabby clothes, shabby chairs.
Very used, very old.
Very used, very old, okay. Worn out, kao iznošen, jel tako, izrabljen, worn out. A imamo jednu reč ramshackle, ramshackle as well. Okay, if something works like or operates like clockwork, it means that it's very precise, punctual, right? Precise or punctual, like clockwork, the superior enters at precisely the same time each day. Znači kao sat, precizan kao sat. Oppressive, if someone or something is oppressive, is it something positive or negative?
Negative.
In what way exactly negative?
Restricting.
Restricting, limiting. Nešto što vas onako guši, jel tako? Smara. Okay. And to end up in a certain way means to result in a way. Znači završiti na određeni način. Okay. Dakle, zapamtite, what is the main idea of the essay is comparing one's workplace with a prison, right? The thesis statement is the last sentence in the introduction, and you underlined it, right? Okay, underline it because it's a question here. There are some other elements, components, or constituent parts of the introduction. So open your books to page 84. Usually, the first sentence or the first two sentences in an introduction have the purpose to attract the attention of the reader to the topic, okay? So they do not give the essence of what the essay is about, but they attract our attention. That's why this part is called the hook, kao udica, tako mamac koji privlači ribice. So it gives the reader, so in writing, a hook is a sentence or sentences that catch the reader's attention. It gives the reader a reason to keep reading the essay. It is important to remember that the hook should not be the main idea of the thesis. Znači, ono nam samo služi da nam privuče pažnju. I sada da vidimo šta je ovdje hook, recimo u ovom našem eseju. Okrenite nazad na stranu 81. Pa evo recimo, I'm not a criminal. To je zapravo hook, jel tako? Privlačite pažnju, time kažete niste kriminalac. I'm an honest, hardworking individual who follows the laws and stays out of trouble. Jel tako? Recimo te dve rečenice da bi bile hooks, odnosno mamci, a posebno ova prva. Dakle, u jednom uvodu prvo imate hook u jednoj ili dve rečenice, onda imate nekoliko rečenica, to se zove connecting information, a radit ćemo kasnije konkretnije, koje znači povezuju tu prvu rečenicu mamac za privlačenje pažnje sa glavnom idejom paragrafa koji je thesis statement. Znači ide prvo hook, pa ide connecting information, pa ide thesis statement kao što je u ovom ovdje uvodu urađeno. On page 84, let's go to task number 5. The writer uses many adjectives to help describe her job. Find the adjectives that describe these nouns. Znači imate guard, cubicle, food, layer, conference room. I to nas vodi sad ka onom vivid writing, ok? Korišćenje preciznih reči, descriptive words. Pronađite znači reči koje stoje uz ove kako bi ih precizirala u ovom tekstu. Jeste našli šta je bilo sa guard? Tako, prvo nam je guard. To se može...
Stern.
Stern guard, meaning a strict guard. Cubicle.
Dull.
Dull cubicle. Aha. Food. Fried food. Aha. Dobro. Layer.
Thin.
Thin layer. And conference room. What kind of conference room?
Enormous.
Yes, enormous conference room. Okay. Now, I would like you to do the task entitled as activity 3 on page 85 and 86. Dakle, ovo, to je kao pravljenje detaljno, odnosno ubacivanje elemenata kojima ćete popuniti ovaj detaljni plan, outline ovog sada eseja koje ste pročitali. Da ne gubimo sada na to vreme, molim vas uradite kod kuće. Znači imate hook je comparison to criminals, connecting information je imagining life as a prisoner. Vi sad napišete tu koji je thesis, to smo već odredili. I onda idete od jednog do drugog paragrafa gde određujete topic sentences, određujete main points i details by which they are supported, okay? To uradite kod kuće, sljedeći put ćemo ispraviti. Now let us move on to one important aspect of writing, especially descriptive writing, which has to do with choosing vivid, precise, descriptive vocabulary, which very often relies on your senses. So here is a list of descriptive writing techniques. Možemo prvo da pogledamo u knjizi što vam piše, onda ćemo malo detaljnije na osnovu ovih slajdova. Dakle, pogledajte, on page 87, it says, describing with the 5 senses. It is important for a writer to use vocabulary that gives the reader information as vividly and as clearly as possible. Very good writers use words that appeal to the 5 senses, of course, sight, taste, touch, hearing, and smell. By using these senses, the writer shows rather than tells the ideas in the essay. Now compare these examples. Znači, the boy entered the room. He was very tired. It's a very bland way of writing, but you can say it in a better way. The boy entered the room and we heard the thud as his body collapsed on the floor. Now, we don't have described the result, right? He was very tired, but we have the picture, the mental picture of what happened. We heard the thud of his body collapsing on the floor. Možemo dodati since he was very tired. But we get the image. So you should create the image with your words. Or his clothing was dirty. How dirty? Rather, describe what you see. First, I saw that his clothing was dirty, but then I noticed that the air around him smelled of sour milk. Okay, probably he vomited, maybe he was drinking, and so on. Now we have a clearer picture. So this is clear writing. Now, have a look at these. Okay, before doing this task, let us consider these descriptive writing techniques on the slides. So, when writing, we should use descriptive words. So, the man wore a neat chocolate brown business suit, shiny from wear. Words in red are very descriptive. This is a much nicer and more precise description than just saying the man wore an old brown suit, right? Then the second technique is using your senses, relying on sensory power words. Here are some examples. Words relating to sight or visual words: gigantic, teeny tiny, bulky, glitter, sparkling, shimmering, shiny, glowing, crooked, hazy, shadowy, gloomy, drab, murky, dull, knotty, vibrant. Those relating to sound, auditory words. Some of them are onomatopoeic: buzz, hubbub, humming, faint, deafening, squeaky, ear-splitting noise, serene, atmosphere, for example, to sizzle, to hiss, to shriek, snappy, boom, roaring, thundering, crunchy. Tactile words, those referring to touch: fluffy, gritty, rough, smooth, slimy, sticky, creepy, crisp, hairy, chilled, to stifle, woolly, and so on. Then words related to taste and smell: bland, rotten, fragrant, stale, juicy, stinky, gooey, bitter, yummy, lip-smackingly, pungent, zesty, sweet, spice, whatever. And motion words: soaring, to resonate, to breeze through, staggering, blown away, paralyzed, eye-popping, gobsmacked, shocking, to grab, jaw-droppingly good, znači tako da vam se padne vilica, pa imamo mi to u srpskom jeziku isto. Turbulent, choppy, swirling, to wriggle. Okay. Some examples. Molim vas za sljedeći čas da svako od vas odabere po 3 riječi koje su mu najinteresantnije iz svake od ovih kategorija. Dakle, sight, sound, touch, words related to taste, motion. Možda neka to budu one reči za koje niste sigurni šta znači. Pogledate značenje u rečniku i napišete primjer u određenoj rečenici upotrebe. Dobro? Po 3 reči svake od ovih kategorija, znači treba da imate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 puta 3, 15 reči, dobro? Znači definicija plus primer. Na taj način bogatite i svoj vokabular, a i poboljšavate pisanje. Dakle, za sad za domaći imate one glagole u vezi sa run, dakle da napišete primere za one glagole related to running, sprint, dash, šta je već bilo, i imate ovde po 3. Imate također da uradite ovaj outline. Idemo na sljedeća tehnika, odnosno some more examples of sensory words. Sensory words are descriptive. They describe how we experience the world, how we smell, see, hear, feel, or taste something. The words related to sight indicate colors, shape, or appearance, like gloomy, dazzling, bright, foggy, gigantic. Words related to use them to describe feelings and abstract concepts: gritty, creepy, for example, creepy feeling, jel tako? Slimy, a slimy person, right? Onako ljigava. Fluff, sticky. Words related to hearing describe sounds, for example, a crashing thunder, jel tako? Thumping, a piercing noise, onako koja probada. Tingling, squeaky, like a mouse, right? Often these words mimic sounds. That's when they are called onomatopoeic. Taste and smell are closely related. Most taste and smell words are easy substitutes for bland words. Što znači bland? Bland znači onako nekog blagog, zapravo bezukusno, tako when related to food with not much taste, bland. Tako su vam i reči ove koje sada slede: good, nice i bad. Those are empty words or bland words we should not use in writing. To smo još prošlom semestru govorili. Znači, reči tipa good, nice, bad, one su relativne. What's nice and good for me might be not nice, good or bad for you. Also words like awesome, words like stuff, thing, and so on. To su reči koje se izbjegavaju. Instead of good, nice, bad, use zesty, tantalizing, sweet, stinky, stale, whatever. Okay? Motion is sensory too. By using active words to describe your movement, you help your readers experience your words. For example, vibrating, soaring, mind-boggling, staggering, bumping. Descriptive words, words relating to your senses, are using figures of speech to create images in words. For example, using similes, dakle poređenja. Her mouth snapped shut like an iron trap. Okay, using metaphors. Your brother is a pig when he eats. Using personification. The breeze played with his hair. Using alliteration, dakle ponavljanje istih konsonanata. She is a bright and bubbly baby. Technique is using symbolic objects to suggest ideas or emotions. For example, some objects and colors are associated with emotions or ideas. Let's say white doves are associated with peace. Prisons and zoos are associated with lack of freedom, as we saw in the example of the essay or work. Good descriptive writing creates an impression in the reader's mind of an event, place, person, or thing. The writing will be such that it will set a mood or describe something in such detail that if the reader saw it, they would recognize it. To be good descriptive writing, it has to be concrete, evocative, and plausible. Music can paint a vivid picture, so can everyday life. So let's take a look at various examples of imagery summed up in a single sentence, including several examples of similes. Pa pogledajte kako može. Eyes sparkle like sapphires in the dark. Ili osjećanja. He felt like the flowers were waving hello. The F-16 swooped down like an eagle after his prey. Dakle, opis aviona. The lake was left shivering by the touch of morning wind. The pot was as red as a tongue after a cherry-flavored ring pop. Zamislite to, taj opis. The music... izvinite samo trenutak. Šta je sad? To je... Ti skuči? Ne, ne ulazi. The music calls through us, vibrating through our bodies as if it came from within. The giant tree was ablaze with the orange, red, and yellow leaves that were beginning to descend to the ground. So it's a nice description of a tree, right? And yes, poslije ću ti reći. Izvinite samo trenutak. Sorry, my small child, little child came. Okay. Back to, is this all clear to you? Yes? Okay, now let's go back to our books on page 87. So activity 4, focusing on sense words. Study the nouns on the left and think of 3 or 4 adjectives to describe each noun. A park can be littered, lush, green. Think about a wedding dress, a horse, a cup of soup. Možemo to I odmah ovako da. A wedding dress. Can you think of some adjectives, some nice adjectives for a wedding dress? A white wedding dress. What else comes to your mind?
Ethereal.
Sorry?
Ethereal.
Okay. For example, embroidered. Jel tako? Izvezena, sa vezom. Something else? Ajde, javljajte se.
Sparkly.
Sparkly, glittering. Luxurious. It can be a tight as well, although not typically. A horse. What about a horse?
Stinky.
Stinky. Okay.
Graceful.
Graceful.
Tall.
Tall. Wild. Galloping. Wild. Something else. A cup of soup.
Hot.
Hot.
Salty.
Sorry.
Salty.
Salty. Delicious. Something else. Okay, a professor.
Strict.
Strict. Or stern, as we learned.
Old.
boring. Something else. Old. Mm-hmm. Come on.
Demanding.
There are almost 30 of you.
Lousy.
Probably a good professor.
Lousy.
Lousy. Pop singer. Uh-huh.
Wise. Popular.
Wise. Popular. Mm-hmm. Extravagant. Mm-hmm. Okay. What? A car.
Economic.
New.
Economic, yes. What else? Nisam
New.
čula sad osim economic. Još
New,
jednom?
new car.
New. Možda i bolje brand new. Sports car. Family car. Party.
Loud.
Loud. Boring.
Colorful.
Boring. Colorful. Wild. A cocktail party, for example. What about a university?
Prestigious.
Nešto nam padne na pamet.
High ranking.
Historic.
Expensive.
Okay. What book da vidimo?
Fascinating. Interesting.
Fascinating book.
Unputdownable.
Best selling.
Historic.
Consider where, let me remind to avoid the writing. Kao što prošlom semestru tipa jua, ali izbjegavate i drugo lice ni netornika neformalnog stila. Mi želimo da pišemo formalno. Like je neformalno, to izbjegavamo. Literally podrazumeva se da pišemo iskreno i doslovno, tako da se ne upotrebljava. Very, nice, good, bad, a lot, također su reči koje ne upotrebljavamo u pisanju, tražimo im bolje zamene. Stupid, dumb, također. Ridiculous, također ne. Thing is stuff, isto su vague words, jel tako, nemaju značenja. So, and you avoid anything else you feel could be stronger, more impactful, more meaningful, as well as more formal. Okay? So this is a general rule. We can do this the next time probably. Let me see what time. Just a second. Let me see what time it is. Okay. Nice in your writing. Switch general nouns to specific nouns and utilize more interesting verbs and very word choice. So many words we rely on are overused or too general. To give your writing stronger voice or make it subtly persuasive, pay attention to these vague, overused words and thoughtfully submit more specific words. Instead of saying nice, you use words like kind, gentle, compassionate, pretty, thoughtful, comfortable, fascinating. Instead of using, say which people exactly you mean. Is it the government, the teens, adults, senior citizens, American citizens, children, toddlers, the public, the media? If it's a bad smell, say a stench or a stink. Intelligent people, upotrebite synonym. When it comes to intelligent people, Julia is just about the cleverest, the brainiest, the most intellectual, astute, gifted, bright. You should create opportunities for descriptive language using figures of speech and avoiding cliches. So avoid cliches. Descriptive language. Instead of saying it was a beautiful day, which gives little to no real information about the day, this is the descriptive language. Describe what the day really looked like. The leaves were shades of crimson and gold, and the sun illuminated every hue, giving the impression of a forest burning into a flame. Or the sky looked as though it had never heard of clouds. Što se tiče ovih klišeja, ovo su kliširani as a door name, pitch black, love seek, replacing them with the phrases which giving possibilities for new ways of expressing it. Recimo, umjesto pitch black, i sad, recimo, imamo ovdje nekoliko rečenica koje bi trebalo you should correct them, make them more descriptive using specific details. To bih vas molila da svako napiše svoju jednu varijantu za ovih 5 rečenica. Ok, za sljedeći čas. Imate li neki pitanja? Dakle, ja ću postaviti tokom današnjeg dana ili sutra ove slajdove u Google učionicu. Jeste svi pozvani tamo? Jeste? Ili jeste pozvani?
Valjda jesmo.
Pa ja sam vam poslala mail. Kliknite tamo pa se pridružite Google učionici, dakle tamo ću vam postaviti materijal i podsjetit ću vas, znači za sljedeći čas molim vas da uradite tih 4-5 stvari koje sam vam zadala. Također da pročitate ovaj sljedeći esej koji dolazi na 88. i 89. strani. Dakle, pročitajte taj esej, da ne bismo gubili vreme na čitanje na času, nego da već imate u umu šta je, pa samo da ga analiziramo. Dobro? Ok, onda time možemo danas da završimo. Samo da vas pitam, dakle, ponedeljkom, sad razmišljam ranije, znači od 2 do 3 Nemci imaju nešto, je li tako? Rekli ste. Aha.
Da.
A recimo pola 1 do 2, je li imate nešto? Nemci?
Samo sekund.
A je pitanje i za Engleze isto. Ali neće to moći. Ništa ovako, da, najbolje ovako. Dobro, ne morate, ništa. Sljedeći čas vidimo se isto u 3 sata ovako, dobro? And you come prepared to classes, okay?
Yes.
Okay, so see you next week, next Monday. Bye.
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 Doviđenja.
Bye.